This is the op-ed that hit this morning. The board writes, this social silencing, this depluralization of America has been evident for years, but dealing with it stirs yet more fear. They go on to list a poll that found 84% of Americans believe cancel culture is a problem. Only 34% believe everyone in this country enjoys free speech. It's ironic to read the panic piece from the Times, considering that they do the exact same thing they're criticizing. Example A, the Times coverage of Joe Rogan, who often raised controversial questions about COVID on his podcast. What should Spotify do about Joe Rogan, they ask. And if you think it just attacks on the right, you're wrong. This piece from 2017 literally says, who wants to be a liberal anymore? Washington Post columnist Philip Bump wrote this about the piece: speaking freely, which the Times conflates with free speech, has always been something subject to cultural standards, and joins us now. Good to see you. So does the Times have it wrong that we do all have free speech? It's just that we shouldn't be allowed to say things that offend people, and that's okay?
Well, obviously, you're making a characterization of the Times point of view that I don't think they necessarily share. I think they absolutely, if anyone thinks that the New York Times is saying that we don't have free speech or that cancel culture has somehow eliminated people's legal ability to speak freely, that's obviously not the case. The point that I make in my piece is that this is a very nuanced thing, that this is about cultural change, standards that have changed, in the same way that jokes change over time. Our standards for what sorts of things we find appropriate to say publicly change, that there's a generational aspect to this, that things have changed. There's a lot of millennials now who hold different cultural standards than do baby boomers and other folks. But also, we're living in an age of social media where all these things, it's very easy to go back and find something that someone said that they expected to only be broadcast to a small audience, that gets elevated to this this massive worldwide audience. In fact, to the point, it's interesting you start with that incident at Yale. My piece today starts with a letter to the editor from 1969 in which someone is complaining, oh, these college kids today are interrupting all these rallies and free speech events in college campuses. This has been happening a long time.
Yeah, this has been right. It's always the older generation that says, oh, but back then. This is what I thought was interesting, though. If you compare and contrast what the Times is saying, Americans are losing hold of a fundamental right as citizens of a free country, the right to speak their minds and voice their opinions in public without fear of being shamed or shunned. And in a way, the New York Times should know better than anybody. They published an op-ed from Tom Cotton, a United States senator, arguably a 2024 presidential candidate, and then had to turn around and apologize for it. This is from Vanity Fair. Editorial page editor James Bennett initially defended his staff's decision to publish the op-ed, struck a different tone, saying that the piece is contemptuous and should not have been published. I can't figure out which side of this debate the editorial page is on.
Well, I think it's really important not to simply isolate anecdotes as being examples of broader trends, which is obviously what's happening there. There were a lot of questions about the Cotton piece. I'm not going to look. I work for the Washington Post. At the end of the day, I'm not going to sit here and try and defend the New York Times, much less their editorial page. But I think the broader issue here is that what the Times did in their piece today is really misrepresent and exaggerate this thing that has very obvious causes that they tried to repackage as something broader, because what they're trying to do at the end of the day is get people to read the editorial page. God bless them. That's what they're doing. But I think it was dishonest, and I think it was a disservice to the readers.
Yeah, it certainly seemed to be lacking any sense of awareness of history or what the editorial page has been. It was interesting that it was unsigned. It was the editorial board. It wasn't an op-ed or one of their editorial writers that wrote it. You work for the Washington Post. Take us through that decision process to make it the process of this will come from the editorial board, not one of our on-staff writers.
I'd say two things. The first is that it's fairly common for newspapers to have editorial board opinions. The Post does it all the time. But I don't work on the editorial side. I don't know what that process looks like. As you, I'm sure, are aware, the New York Times, like the Washington Post, has a very strict divider between the people who are offering opinions and the people who are doing reporting. I don't sit on that opinion side.
Yeah, fair enough. The one name that instantly came to mind when I read the piece this morning was Bari Weiss. And you think about what she went through at the New York Times, and then the letter she wrote when she left. Stories are chosen and told in a way to satisfy the narrowest of audiences rather than to allow a curious public to read about the world and then draw their own conclusions. And it seems as though, are we to read this? Is the editorial board trying to say we're taking on the Gray Lady itself?
I honestly don't know. I mean, I think certainly, I can't speak to the internal workings of the New York Times. I do think that Bari Weiss is a very good example of how this cancel culture conversation can be very lucrative. She's very famous now for being the person who stands in opposition to cancel culture. She writes about it constantly. Her blog is constantly about it. And she's giving voice to these people who obviously have a voice. I mean, it's sort of ludicrous to use Bari Weiss as an example of cancel culture when she's the exact opposite of what cancel culture is supposedly about.
Well, I guess the flip side of that, though, is that she felt as though she was canceled and then went out to find and respond to the audience that the New York Times does not speak to.
Well, you are exactly right. She felt as though she was canceled. And that is the absolute heart of all of this, that people feel like they want to say particular things, that they don't get the reaction that they want, perhaps the reaction that they had been taught to expect. And so then they get frustrated and they react in frustration. That's 100% exactly what's happening. I agree with you on that.
All right. Hey, Philip, your piece in the Washington Post was excellent, and congratulations on turning around something so thoughtful so quickly. It was impressive and thoughtful. We're glad to have had you, and we'll talk soon.
Great, thanks.
All right, all the best. Thank you. Thanks for watching. Click the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.